All right, everybody, we are back with some very interesting news for the Sonic franchise. We got some stuff going on. We basically have some information about the next Sonic game. And this is not the Sonic and Shadow leak that a lot of people are talking about. Personally, I'm not really too fond of that one. I don't think it's true. But this one actually seems a lot more likely and a lot more credible because there's a lot of things that actually back this up in terms of what Sega's strategy is for 2024, at least things that we know. So we're going to get into all this, but before we do that, please subscribe to the channel with all notifications. I'll give you a second. And let's talk about some of this exciting Sonic news. So as you guys know, based off of what's confirmed so far, it's a pretty dry year for Sonic. Like 99% of the year is going to be dry. Obviously, we got the big Sonic Movie 3 coming in 2024 at the very tail end of it. But Prime already passed, so we're done with Prime. I mean, all that's left to do is to shore up some of the little discourse with it. But for the most part, other than Movie 3, we have the Knuckles TV show, and that's the only thing that's confirmed for Sonic. However, apparently there's a brand new leak that seems pretty credible. Some people are saying it's credible, about a brand new Sonic game that's going to be coming for mobile. But the type of game this is actually is piquing my interest because I think it's a pretty good direction for Sonic to go. But I'll let you guys decide for yourself. So here's Docky. He works for Tails Channel, which is a pretty, I mean, obviously like the most reputable Sonic news source. It's like one of them. It's one of those like official confirmed Sonic news outlets. Like anything that comes out of these channels is usually pretty reliable. He says, oh, that's a reliable leaker just casually saying we're getting a Fall Guys Sonic game for mobile this year. Wait, what? So I did a little bit of digging and here we go. This person says this year, a new Sonic spin-off title will be released for mobile. The gameplay elements will be similar to Fall Guys. A new Sonic spin-off is coming to mobile this year. Gameplay elements will be similar. Okay, I don't know why I just read that twice. The title will be distributed on iOS and Android. So for those of you who missed out on Sonic Dream Team, it looks like you guys just got some really good news because honestly, a Sonic Fall Guys type game could definitely work. It's something I personally myself have pitched in the past. At least like it should be a model for what they can pursue. Person says, I'm not familiar with this guy. What has he gotten right before? They said she leaked a lot of Persona stuff, got the name Persona 3 Reloaded right before the announcement, leaking Persona 5 Tactica DLC before the title was announced to have one. There's a lot to cover here. If Persona ASA is announced, I'll add that to the list. So apparently this person is pretty familiar with leaking Sega IP. A lot of people are jumping at this. People are in the comments like, oh my God, is this actually going to happen? We don't really know what studio it is, right? Is it going to be Sega Hardlight? Like, who's going to be developing this? Sonic Dream Team took about 2 years to develop. Is this going to be like a B team kind of thing? Like, what's going on here? Because everyone is like, what? Like, this is crazy. Sonic has collabed with Fall Guys in the past before, as you guys may or may not know. Look at this GIF, whatever you want to call it right here. It's been a thing before. Now, if you aren't familiar with Fall Guys, it's basically a platformer game where you race to the end, and it's like Battle Royale elimination style. It's like 40-something players race. First 20 people to win the race are in. The next 20 are eliminated. There's a bunch of different mini games throughout. So something like this, I've said many times before, it can work for Sonic. Imagine it's, 40 players, but they're all racing at high speed. Not every mini game is racing. Some mini games are just straight up survival games, which can still work. And, it'd be like a fun Sonic party game. Now, this on the surface sounds very memeable. Like, oh my God, Fall Guys, like, oh, who cares? This is stupid. But in concept, this could actually work. A franchise that's pretty similar to Sonic already tried this with Kirby, although they did charge $15 for this game, which probably put a lot of people off. This game probably could have been free, but Kirby also did a similar game to this. Now, with Sonic, I think that this would be really fun because Sonic, again, this is like a high-speed platformer. Imagine there's 40 players racing SA2 style, first 20 win or something like that. You know what I mean? Again, something like this SA2 style racing system with like a lot of people playing. Imagine like, all right, the first round is a snowboard race. The second round is a straight up foot race. Maybe the third round's like a Knuckles treasure hunting stick. I don't know. There's a lot of different ways that they could take this. In concept though, it sounds really cool. I mean, we already kind of have something similar to this concept with Sonic Speed Simulator, which is the officially licensed Sonic Roblox game. But the racing system in this game is a little bit less structured. Something I've always wanted for the game, something I've always pitched was like a battle royale mode or something like that. Like rounds of racing or whatever mini game, whatever have you, that people progressively get eliminated through until there's like a 1v1 at the end or something like that. Would be really cool. But the problem with SSS racing, it's a little bit less unstructured. There's really no progression to it for the most part. I mean, there's like the racing shop and tickets, but for the most part, it's I think it could be a little bit more competitive or something like that. Matchmaking, whatever the case may be. For the record, SSS is really popular with like Sonic YouTube content. It's still some of the most viewed Sonic videos in the niche. So something like this definitely works. You know what I'm saying? Multiplayer Sonic games, I've always said this, I've always been a proponent of this, is kind of like what Sonic should try to break into. If they can successfully break into the multiplayer platformer racing genre, I think it would overall be a good thing for the brand. And there's a lot of different ways that they can take it. There's so many different ways they can monetize the game. Obviously, if it's going to be free for all platforms, Android and iOS, that could certainly work. Fall Guys already has a battle pass. Fall Guys already has cosmetics, you know, the standard monetization that you would get from this type of game, which obviously is expected if you want the game to continue and get updates. Unfortunately, that's the reality of it. Otherwise, you get a game like Sonic Dream Team, which is a great game, but obviously some people were not able to experience it. Personally, I was able to experience it, so I was cool with it, but at the end of the day, I know that not everyone was able to play it. So you got two options. You go free to play, spam microtransactions, even if they're not pay to win, or you go Apple Arcade exclusive and that's how you secure your funding. One way or another, the game has to get funded. But regardless, there's a lot of different ways that they could take it, and there's a lot of creativity that they can use. Hopefully, it's going to be true to actual Sonic physics, similar to like SSS has like very good controls, very good Sonic physics with multiplayer racing. It's not like a completely overhauled physics system where it's like Fall Guys, like literally like a slow game just with like Sonic skins or something like that. I think something more true to the 06, the Heroes, the SA2 multiplayer style, or even SSS to a certain degree. That type of multiplayer style, or at least that type of physics style, would be ideal. If it's just like a regular high-speed Sonic platformer with some new multiplayer objectives and competitiveness, with whatever type of matchmaking system possible, that could be something that works. Now, I don't know if a game like this would be 40 players like Fall Guys. The Kirby game only runs like 4 players, so it could be like a 4-player game. I would imagine that the less players there is, the more likely it is to have the traditional Sonic moveset, similar to other Sonic multiplayer games. There's also a possibility it could play like Sonic Forces Speed Battle, which would probably be the worst case scenario. But when I hear Fall Guys, I think of a racing platformer. I think of Battle Royale, several different objectives, and if you throw the actual Sonic spin on it and make it feel like an actual Sonic game with multiplayer, we could be in for a big W of a game, or something I would at least sink some time into. Another game they could also look to for motivation is Stumble Guys, which is basically Fall Guys but for mobile. They have the same monetization structure, the same layout. Battle Royale, platformer racer. Ideally, the Sonic game wouldn't play this slow. It would be like an actual Sonic game. Now, I don't know if you could fit 32 players into a high-speed platformer like this. If they could, that would be amazing. If not, expect maybe like max 8 players. But if it's something like this, but just like actually a Sonic game, you guys know what I mean, like an adventure level, everyone racing with this type of speed, then it works. Fall Guys and Sonic at the core are basically the same genre. They're both platformers. One's like a platformer racing game when you think about Fall Guys, and if you think about the multiplayer versions of Sonic, like Sonic 06, Sonic Heroes, those are also platformer racing modes. So it's not that far-fetched to see a Sonic game that borrows inspiration from Fall Guys. It's actually like one of the best case scenarios. Again, Sonic Speed Simulator does it pretty good, but Sonic Speed Simulator is not really built around racing. It's just more of like a side activity. This would be a game that truly builds off an entire racing mode. Would just be emulating an already successful game. If they throw the Sonic spin onto it, I know Sonic fans would probably like this game. So there's a lot to be excited for if this leak is true, and apparently this leaker is credible. So that's the only reason why we're talking about it. If there's one Sonic game that I would bet on to release, I would not bet on the Sonic and Shadow game. I would actually bet on this game. I think that this game is more likely. As you know, Sega recently bought Rovio, and in recent Sega documents, you can see the image right here. They already talked about that they want to expand mobile games. They want to do multiple mobile games for Sonic. So clearly 2024 would be a good time for them to release that. In between the hype for the movie, maybe we may not get a game. Maybe it's just going to be mobile stuff. As you see right here, several new Sonic titles for mobile are under development. It's already a fact. Like, we know that mobile games are coming. This only further corroborates that. So I would expect a Sonic mobile game in 2024. Sonic and Shadow game leaked. I don't know about that. Listen, I would say that's less likely to happen than this new Sonic Fall Guys game. If it plays like traditional Sonic games, it's going to be a home run. I think. I don't know. But let me know what you guys think about this. Let me know your opinion down below in the comments. I got nothing else to say to you guys. So until I see you next time, peace out.